तशरीफ रखिए। आज तो माशाल्लाह हमारे उमरा हैं मुख्तलिफ, बहुत अच्छा काम है। और इस मीटिंग के फ़ौरन बाद चंद मिनट मुझसे अपनी इंतज़ामी बात फरमाइए, क्या हाल है? मैं अभी इजाज़त लेके आया हूँ। बहुत ज़्यादा ममालिक ऐसे आप लोगों के मुताबिक पड़े हुए हैं जिनकी तरफ मुस्तकिल तवज्जो ज़हनी लिहाज से हो ही नहीं सकती, क्योंकि निज़ाम नहीं है ऐसा मुकर्रर अपने आदमियों का जो आपके सामने जवाब दो और उन मुल्कों के वो निगरान हो जाएं। ये अपने फौरी कायम करवाना है। वो तो मैंने हदायतें कुछ लिखवाई हैं माजिद को, लेकिन ज़बानी मैं आपको ऑन कर रहा हूँ कि ये काम आगे बढ़ ही नहीं सकता जब तक कि ज़ैली ममालिक को अलग अलग ज़िम्मेदार आदमी मुकर्रर करके उनके सपुर्द करें, उनसे मनसूबा बनवाएं, वो आपके सामने जवाब दे हों मनसूबे के भी और तामील के भी। ठीक है, चलें, लेट्स स्टार्ट द इंग्लिश सेशन नाउ।
Assalamu alaikum, Hazur. Hazur, today we have 5 guests, all from the west coast of Africa. And immediately to my right is Amir Sahib Ghana, Abdul Wahab Adan Sahib. And next to him is Amir Sahib Nigeria, Mr. M.M. Meshu. Next to him is our Member of Parliament for Ghana for the Asan South region, and its name is Honorable Al-Hassan Dadzi. And next to him is our Amir from Gambia, Baba F.
The Gambia,
sorry. The Gambia. Baba F. Travali.
But he is not a Baba.
So we had this discussion.
Baba means old man.
Well, we had this discussion there. And apparently in their language it means the same thing.
Exactly.
This is what I was told.
Baba means old man.
Father.
Huh?
Father.
It also means old man.
It also means
old man as well. Yes. So Baba is only a word of respect.
Yes, it is. Yes, indeed. And next to him we have our Naib Amir Sahib from the Gambia, and Nujubu Travali. So these are our guests today, sir. I'll ask request Wahab Adan Sahib to start us.
Huzur, there is a controversy going on in the Anglican Church today, and it appears the African priests have taken the view that they should return to the Bible, while the European priests are saying that they should stick to modernity. What comment would Huzur wish to make on the controversy itself and the future of Christianity?
I'm sorry that I was not attentive because of a previous meeting and some problems which I wanted to discuss with Imam Sahib. So I was thinking of him, I was looking at him. Please start your question again.
Huzur, the question I would want to humbly request Huzur to throw some light on is the controversy in the Anglican Church. There is a controversy about whether they should permit the gay people and the lesbians to have their marriages even solemnized in the church. And the African priests, because there is a conference going on, and the priests who had come from Africa were saying that they don't think this is a valid question because the Bible is against it. But the European priests are saying that the African priests are backward. They are not modern enough to understand that.
To improve the word of God. Yes. Amend and improve the word of God, yes.
So, it's
why should I advise on this? You know the answer better. Africans should be encouraged to stick to their guns on the principle that if it is the word of God, then we have no right to amend it. If it is not, then get off our backs. why do you want us to be continuously deceived in our faith, which should not be taken lightly? So we'll rather relinquish Christianity altogether than submit to your supposed amendments. This line of action, I think, should be taken very bravely, and they should be very clearly made to understand that this is the only course left for you. Either get rid of European Church altogether and stick to Bible, or leave this Bible, which is apparently so backward in time, altogether and become Muslims. Right.
Introduction did not give my name properly.
Yes.
I apologize.
Yeah.
My name is Muhammad Mahmoud Maishanu.
Yes, that's right. Muhammad Maishanu. That's what I remember.
My question is that a few days ago,
What did you say? Michiano?
I think I pronounced it incorrectly, sir. Mishano, I think I said.
Mishano.
That's-
a few days ago, I watched a discussion on TV on the possibility that America and its allies might decide to attack Iraq again over this recent deadlock on weapons inspection. One of the discussants said that if this happened, all the Arab countries would come out openly in support of Iraq. My question is, how does Hudu assess this possibility of the Arabs ganging up and its results?
Both the possibilities are wrong. What happens whenever Clinton is accused of his gross moral misconduct, suddenly Iraq issue is brought to light. Read back the history, this is what always happens. So it is again an attempt on the part of Clinton organization to mislead the public opinion and to draw them to an issue where their national feelings will be stirred and all the attention of the mind will be in that direction. I think it is not possible for Clinton to succeed this time. Moreover, it is not possible for America to go for an all-out war against Iraq. Moreover, it is impossible for the United Nations to muster enough European support to attack Iraq. So the only country which is left in the field is America, and it's against her gross interests, financial and otherwise, to go for this. Moreover, as far as the Muslim countries are concerned, although they're not going to raise even their little finger against America, but this time their tongues will wag. So America perhaps is not ready for that tongue lashing either. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I would also want to make slight correction on the constituency, Assam South constituency. Yes, I'm the MP for Assam South
Assam South constituency.
constituency.
I did say Assam South region.
Region, yes.
Region.
Yes.
I mentioned it as a region. The constituency that is represented, I mentioned as a region instead of constituency.
So what's wrong with that?
The region is a larger area.
His region is larger than what was mentioned.
That's it.
Good.
We have 10
He
regions.
represents a much larger region than what was said. Is that what you mean?
He represents
Much smaller.
Much smaller. Why did you disclose this? It was unnecessary. Come on.
Thank you.
The region may be small, but you are not small in my eyes. Please.
Thank you very much. Well, Your Honor, my question is on reincarnation. Reincarnation. Several doctrines cite worldly events to support their belief in reincarnation.
What evidence, for instance, to support their belief?
For instance, the parallel between Abraham Lincoln and John Kennedy, J.F. Kennedy.
With what?
Abraham Lincoln, former president of America, and then John Kennedy.
They're similar.
Yes, there are some parallels between
So
their
this
life.
means Abraham Lincoln was reborn in the form of John Kennedy.
That's
For what crime had he committed? Abraham Lincoln deserved a much better reward than that. He was a great man, very honest person.
He was.
A great hero, a man who was governed throughout his life with by noble principles. So this evidence is no evidence at all. It is stupid and laughable. Produce some solid evidence, please.
I see. Back at home, some of our traditions actually have place for that sort of thinking, the concept. That is, children are born and there is a belief that they are reincarnation of people who have died long ago. No, that is a traditional belief.
People believe.
Yes.
But that means they do not know what reincarnation is.
Good. I was
First of all,
Fine.
now I understand your question,
Good.
but now listen to the answer. First of all, this Abraham Lincoln case is vulnerable on the point of the true understanding of reincarnation. According to this philosophy of reincarnation, if someone has done good deeds, then he will be returned to the realm of souls and the matter will be separated from him. And there he would stay for trillions of years, according to the story of reincarnation. If he is quickly returned to earth, then this is going to be his punishment. And under that punishment, he cannot be reborn as a human, not to mention of F. Kennedy. Abraham Lincoln, if he was to return to this world, or was to be returned to this world so soon, that would show wrath of God against him, that he behaved like a wicked person, and as such he lost his right to be reborn as a human. So he should have been searched about among animals, not among the presidents of United States of America. There is a complete contradiction between the actual theory of reincarnation and what people believe. People believe that if they have a feeling that they are similar to some past person, this is a proof that they have been reincarnated. This is absolutely untenable, because so many other factors must be taken into account. If the person they resemble was a wicked man, then he should not have been born into this new personage, but should have been downgraded to the to the kingdom of even worms. If he was a pious person, then, as I have said, he should not have been made to return to this world for trillions of years. So this whole story is absolutely false and is based on a wishful thinking. the wishful thinking arises out of one's desire to be eternal. Everyone desires to be eternal without reforming himself so that he is made eternal in soul by Allah. Everybody wants to be eternal without earning that eternity. The result is they don't want to be held answerable for anything. They don't want to be disciplined. They just want eternity. And this theory comes to their help. They think reincarnation means it's a source, it is a system of eternalizing people. While it is not. The Hindu sages who conceived this idea, they have their internal logic, however wrong that may be, but they have their own internal logic. These people are answerable on this head. On what principle they expect that people should be reborn? Can soul after death acquire an independent role which is godlike, and can soul return automatically to another body? This is the question, in favor of which they must produce argument and evidence if possible. It is not possible unless there is a God who supervises all this and manages to send souls back to human form. If there is a God, then automatically they are answerable to him. And there is no need for any such system. So they want to escape a thing and accept it at the same time. It's not correct, it's not possible. Thank you. Yes, please, Amir Sahib Gambia.
Assalamu alaikum, Your Holiness.
I hope your name was not mispronounced.
Oh, it was properly pronounced.
Good, Alhamdulillah.
It's an international name. Yes. My question is on fasting while on a journey. In our traditional conservative society, people believe that because of the improved communication system when you are traveling, you should keep fast. So the question is there a distance if somebody travels, he shouldn't keep fast, or there is a time period one should not keep fast, or after that time one should keep fast?
This question is one of those which has been answered by me eons of times. But it comes up because everybody doesn't listen to the videos or cassettes or MTA. The fact is, first of all, visualize the time when the journey appears to be shorter. Were people of that time much tougher than we are or not? When a 20 miles ride on a horse-breaking speed at a horse's back was sufficient to give them the sense of fatigue and tiredness, and they wanted rest. Now take a modern man or a modern woman. Can they be subjected to that tough trial of journeys like old days? So their standard of withstanding hardship has been lowered. There is threshold of withstanding hardship has been so much lowered that even if they journey for 5,000 or 6,000 miles in a few hours on a plane, they are dead beat by the end of the journey. They're so tired that international companies give them a free day after their arrival and advise them not to take any responsible job on their hand, or they will miscalculate, because it's not their body only, it is their mind which is very tired. So why? They're sitting in a perfect, comfortable seat. They're sitting with all the modern amenities. From time to time, meals are served and refreshments are given. They are given opportunity to drink in some cases, wine as much as they do. But in ordinary passengers, they're still served with cokes and refreshing drinks from as much as they like. In olden days, this was not done. Despite all this, why do they get tired? That shows that the journey is not related to mileage. At different times, different mileage should be considered as journeys. So if today somebody sits in a car and goes out for a 40-mile drive, by way of picnic, according to the olden standard, because they have crossed the limit of 20 miles, they should be able to not only relinquish fasting, but also they should start saying their prayer in halves. They should do it Qasr. But their conscience will rebel against this. They know better than anybody else that this is no journey at all. So this is the crux of the matter. This is a central point. Any person who travels, he is the best judge of whether he is on journey or not. And he must consult his conscience. Any person who has decided to leave his home and go somewhere else, the moment he crosses the borders of his city, he should be treated as on journey, and he knows it. He begins to feel the discomforts, which is psychological, of leaving his home and going out to other places. So this is a very complicated question which deals more with human psyche than with distances. So in view of that, my advice always is that you should consult your conscience and be answerable to God. That's the best advice I can render. Yes.
Numujo Travale, Naib Amir of the Gambia. My question is on prayers whilst on a journey. Now,
again,
yes,
both of you is on the same question, huh? Is it a Gambian attitude?
No, I think this one might be a little different.
Achha.
Now, some people say that whilst on a journey, once you reach your destination, after 3 days, you should pray in full. Others say, no, it should be 2 weeks. Others say it's much longer. So, is there anything in the...
It could be any of the 3 possibilities. It all depends on circumstances. One thing should be remembered, that if somebody is on a journey and knows that the journey would end within 14 days, then he should do Qasr only till 14 days. Right? But if he is not certain, then if the journey extends beyond 14 days, then he must continue to do Qasr. Because mentally, again this is a question of psychology, mentally his mind remains on journey if right from the beginning he does not know when it will end. So if the journey ends within 3 days, that is the limit. If it ends by 14 days, that becomes a limit. If it continues, then as long as it continues, it will remain a journey. Exactly this is the interpretation of journey as we understand from the conduct of Hazrat Masih Maud al-Islam himself. Nobody could be found in his time who was more zealous of praying before Allah and who spent more hours than him during the day and the night as involved in prayers. Yet his respect for the Quranic teaching and the conduct of Rasulullah was so strong that he is known to have remained for around 6 months in Gurdaspur. And because he never knew when the judge will relieve him and he could return back home to Qadian, he continued to say prayer in house, in Qasr, and considered the whole period as an extended journey. So in the light of this conduct of Hazrat Masih Maud and in the light of what I had said earlier, that the whole thing is in fact psychological. The psychological attitude of man is taken into consideration by Allah, and because the psyches do not change, so whatever the modes of journey are, they do not matter. The Quranic teaching is based on human psyche, which is unchangeable. Right? Ghana, mashallah.
The year 2000 bug is said to create a situation whereby most of the gadgets that are used in the world will not be able to function properly until such time that something is done about it.
No,
now, that
it doesn't mean all gadgets.
Those that have
the problem relates to the television and transmissions. The television system can only run with the satellites in motion, and the satellites have been attuned to a calendar which did not have any room for the change of century. All the satellites are attuned to that calendar, because at the change of century it becomes very confusing which year we are entering. When the 2000 ends, 2001 should begin. Normally this is the concept. But when you calculate the matter, then it becomes more complicated. You see, I don't want to go into that rigmarole, but I had once time to coolly think, and then I realized how difficult it is. So all the earlier gadgets which relate to the transmission of televisions is based on a calculation which does not work at the time of the change of century into another one. So even if we continue to send our programs according to our gadgets, they will work. The gadgets we have will not fail. We can change the date if we like, but how shall we be able to transmit them to the rest of the world? when the gadgets in the satellites do not work. There is the biggest headache which is facing the scientists and technicians all over the world, and they're hoping to find some answer. So we are just awaiting that answer to be given to us.
My mind went to the situation when the third world will become the first world, because we are not used to using so many complicated gadgets.
Yes.
So then the first world people become third world people.
Maybe in a way they are already third world. This is exactly what I suggested to MTA. I said the best thing should have been for us to launch separate television system on our own from Africa, and it should be received by our own satellite system in the air. That could be the best answer of this, for this. But unfortunately we don't have at present the financial means and also the legal provisions to do that. I'm sure if we need, Allah would somehow provide us the financial support, but the question is that in a legalized system of the world, where all television systems are fully commanded by the third world of the West, you see, what can we do? We are in their clutches. Please.
I was under the impression, Huzur, that a third world war would eventually come about and will involve the Eastern and the Western blocks. Now, one of the blocks, the Eastern bloc, has disintegrated Russia. Now, if this war is going to come about at all...
But why do you get this impression that it will be fought between East and West?
Well,
First, tell me the basis of this.
Well, I thought the feeling is, I thought the feeling would be that unless you have these big powers, centered America and Russia, eventually destroyed and their power base brought to nothing, then...
Why do the wars begin anyway? Why do the wars erupt? Tell me.
Well, I thought it's for one side to gain supremacy over the other.
No.
And in those days were merely lookers on.
It is only the economic factor which causes the wars to erupt. Economically, the Western countries are as much jealous of each other as they are jealous of the East taking hold of the economy and snatching it away from their hands and clutches. So the case of Britain and France and Germany is no exemption. If ever a jealousy develops in which they think that economically the other European country is at a better advantage, then the frictions must begin. Totally unavoidable. Similarly, a war is conceivable between America and Europe, not to mention Russia at all, because Russia is already broken down in economy. And there is no apparent future of Russian economy to rise to a standard where it can vie with American or European economy. So the factors which cause wars is lacking there. But it does not lack in Europe. Europeans are trying to build their economy so strong that Europe will snatch American markets and replace American hold on some Eastern countries' economy with their own hold on those economies. If this happens, then a war between America and Europe becomes far more plausible. So war is plausible, which will naturally result into world war between every Western country and their groups against other groups, and America and Europe, and America and Japan, which is extending its economic supremacy to the third world now. Because as far as the West is concerned, they have tied Japanese hands so tightly now that Japan thinks, I hope they realize that they can no longer expand their economy in the Western world. So all they're left with are the poor countries of Asia and Africa, etc. So these are the eagles which are waiting to pounce upon the dead countries or the corpses of our country to make best of it. This is the unfortunate situation. And whenever this happens, the danger of war would certainly become a reality. So is the case of China. So that of Korea. So they're all different centers in which something is smoldering. How far it is permitted to smolder and how far it can erupt so the lid is off, like from that of volcanoes. You know, volcanoes also have lids. Sometimes something is cooking inside and then suddenly the lid is off. So everything is possible. All these factors which I have mentioned briefly can possibly result in the initiation of a war which will rapidly spread into a world war. Right? Thank you.
So my next question is on predestination. We know and we have faith that Allah is all-knowing. That being the case, it means the actions of present generation and even generations yet unborn are known by Him. Will that give cause to explain?
I understand this question. This is one of those questions which have never left me alone. Wherever I go, these questions follow. But I cannot go into a detailed answer which I have been giving and which is recorded in video and audio, etc. I'll inquire from you to be the judge for a while. Since this morning, how many times have you been faced by options to do this or to do that? And you decided them, to come here or not to come here, to do this or to wear this or that. All these things were options for you. Not necessarily good or bad, but sometimes, many times in fact, they can become good or bad. So good people also face these options and they opt for good. The bad people face this option and opt for bad. But every time I'm talking to you, you take a decision. Do you think that your decision is bound to be that decision because Allah knew this is what you are going to decide? Can you shift the responsibility to Allah for your decisions?
Well, in most cases, when the decision turns out to be a wrong decision, one will not attribute it to Allah. But
no, even the right decision cannot be attributed to Allah because it is yours.
We pray
you have a
we
free will. A free will is responsible for reward and punishment. And because humans are rewarded and punished, so a free will cannot be imposed upon them by Allah. I mean, it cannot be subordinated to Allah's superior will, or it is no longer free will. So when you believe in punishment and reward, how can you believe in any form of predestination which will destroy this scheme of Allah? So pre-knowledge or no pre-knowledge is irrelevant to it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Please.
So, my next question is on charity, sadaqah.
Good. Alhamdulillah.
On the 3rd day, 7th day, 40th day, it is becoming
Charity after the death of somebody,
when somebody
Dies.
Dies. Yes.
then you spend in his name. You throw sometimes some feasts
Feast.
on 7th day or 11th day or 40th day.
Yes.
Correct?
Yes.
Is that what you want to find out?
This is what I want to find out, because as far as the Jamaat is concerned, we tell our members that this is not in accordance with the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And those non-Ahmadis who are doing is just like a party now, and they have started also reciting the Quran on, for example, on the 3rd day before the party, they will gather people to recite Holy Quran, and you have to give them something.
You see, that's only a means of earning other people's rights and misappropriating them for yourself. I'm talking of the mullahs. Huh? What is the purpose? If somebody did not know even how to read the Quran and never cared for it, what benefit will he derive from other people reciting Quran after his death? Can he derive any benefit? And these ceremonies are held even for the atheists among these people, those who did not even believe in God, who never said a prayer in their life, who never remembered a single verse of the Holy Quran. When they die, the mullahs gather like kites gather round a dead corpse, and they feed the mullahs on whatever food they are provided with by Allah. So how many hungry days they face ahead after the mullahs have snatched them from whatever they had, Allah knows best. In the poor families, it is not the death which they mourn. It is their life after the death which they must mourn. Because the departing wretch leaves them much more miserable than they were ever before. So this is the futility of the whole exercise. You should understand it and convey these things to the others. Don't just take it up as a religious issue. Talk of common sense and let them understand. Right? Because when you talk of religious issues, in their, doctrines which are in fact not their own doctrines. The mullahs are custodians of their doctrines. So when you try to change their doctrines, they said, no, speak to the mullah. So any religious effort to improve the quality of their faith and beliefs will be completely useless. And when you try to convince the mullahs, you will be trying to convince them against their material interest. You just say no. we know Islam better. Right? The only field where we can succeed is the field of common sense. Thank you.
My next question is the way Aqeeqa is practiced. The way Aqeeqa is practiced in our country, for example, certain rituals are observed, such as bringing a bowl, filling it with water, put some salt in, some rice, some goose, kola nuts.
What rituals?
On Aqeeqa.
What rituals? Repeat them, please.
Now, a bowl full with water, put some salt in, some goose, some rice, and some kola nuts. How is this permissible by Islam?
You know it, don't you? Again, it's a similar question of rites which have replaced the religious practices. When a religious people die, these are the symptoms which appear. Instead of religious responsible practices, saying namaz, keeping roza, this and that, they consider rights to be able to replace their responsibility to conduct themselves in the best way in the sight of Allah. That they never do. So, the mullahs tell them, do these rites and that will be enough. So, the rites are comparatively easier. So, they perform these rites meaninglessly. It's very difficult to reform this society without bringing them to the fold of Ahmadiyyat, in fact. When they come to the fold of Ahmadiyyat, then the central message which should be given to them is the best reward of becoming an Ahmadi is going to be your return to the lifestyle of Ahmad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Would you prefer that or not? If you are ready to return to the lifestyle of Rasulullah Sallam, then your Ahmadiyyat is meaningful. Otherwise, you may return to your old disorder of the world. This is a comparison where his answer has to be positive. And if he really wants to make it, if he really decides to make a choice, what better choice can he make than a return to the time of Hazrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam? Then in answer to every rite which he has been following, you can say in the time of Rasulullah Sallam, this was not so. Just one answer will face and resolve every problem. But primarily, you must convince him and make him conscious of this decision. He must return to the time of Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam. And then all worries will be off. Understand? Good. Abdul Wahab Adam Sahib.
For some years now, the international Bai'at that we do in Islamabad has shown that the Jamaat is the fastest growing religious Jamaat in the world. In the light of this, how do we see the future of Ahmadiyyat?
We have to travel a very long way as yet. First of all, my emphasis on number is only conditioned with the fact that the number we receive, we must try to improve the quality of the people whom we gain. However, slowly and bit by bit. But we must have confidence that we are growing and we are advancing towards a better way of life according to Islam. That has always been my emphasis. You must realize during your spread in your respective countries. The second thing, which is very bothersome, is that if you do not constantly keep a watch on this, they may slide back. And the number of people who slide back, according to my assessment, is far greater than we permit ourselves to confess. We talk of international Bai'at and their success and give it a wide propaganda only for the sake of exciting people's fancy and reviving their resolve to grow big and better. Otherwise, in fact, it never satisfies me as far as this end is concerned. I know in most countries, most of our gains are not dependable in the sense that they, after a while, they begin to slide back. And they are not people enough to hold them. That is why I always emphasize in my prayers, Rabbana la tuzigh qulubana ba'da idh hadaytana. That has been my central prayer throughout my life. And for that, I have advised you to create local muallimeen who will keep an eye. And because they will be given some responsibility, so they will not permit this slide back to happen. The greater number of such muallimeen with responsibility you prepare and launch them into their own area, the sooner you do it, the better you will feel secured. Otherwise, it's just a matter of high talk and tall ambitions without any real follow-up. Yes, please.
In Surah Mulk, I think the first 8 verses, is mention of shaitans trying to eavesdrop and hear some secrets of the divine or something. Now, fortune tellers tell us that what these spirits are able to pinch before they are pelted away forms the basis of what these soothsayers and so on inform the public. I don't know.
First of all, I request you to visualize the Quranic and injunctions and Rasulullah's teaching on this regard. Is Allah not sufficient to guard His secrets? Answer me.
Yes.
Can anyone guard his secrets against Allah?
No.
No. So this is a reality. All the rest is imagination. It is impossible for anyone to sneak into things which Allah wants to guard and snatch away some of the secrets of Allah. And Allah, after that, rather too late, following him with fire. These are the verses totally misunderstood. Right? So, the secrets of nature, which are meant by Allah to be learnt by us, even when they try to snatch these secrets and expand their knowledge, they find it difficult. And it's a fiery journey on their part. When they get encapsulated in a rocket and go out, fire follows them from all around. So Allah reminds humans, and particularly believers, that to advance your knowledge will not be without paying its costs and facing the dangers attendant upon your increase of knowledge or raising of your status. So fiery things like Satan's always try to pull you back, like it happened in the case of even Rasulullah Sallam. All his best plans were attempted to be frustrated by Satans all around, or satanic people. And it was fire from Allah, His wrath, which prevented their path. No fire from Rasulullah Sallallahu himself, but fire from Allah, which continued to chase them out of their pursuit. So these are the metaphorical meanings of all these verses. Otherwise, if you take them realistically, verbally as applicable, I have proved to you that it's not possible according to the Quranic teaching. None has power to snatch away Allah's secrets when He does not want to have it snatched. Right?
Yeah.
Perhaps this is going to be the last question and last answer, because only in 1 minute and 29, 28, 27 seconds are left. Huh? Please.
Zul, I really feel honored for the invitation to attend this year's Chalsa. This is my first time of coming, and I was highly impressed about the programs, the execution of the programs, the involvement of all the parties that were to hold the various facets to make it a success. I was highly impressed in particular about the Shura. I see that as about the highest decision-making body, evaluation and all that of the Jamaat. And I relate it to Parliament. And I could see a bit of differences. Indeed, I have a feeling that the religious line is superior to what happens in Parliament, where you have opposing forces hitting at each other. I would want you to throw a bit of light on the advantages
Shura
in our...
is an institution which has no parallel in the world. And in Jamaat Ahmadiyyat, this is an institution which can improve and reform our quality far more than other measures. So this is why I have attempted to internationalize Shura, in the sense that previously only there was one Shura held in Rabwa. So I have insisted that Shura on the pattern of Central Shura should be enforced in every country. So I have been able, with the grace of Allah, to expand the blessing of Shura to many countries, and they realized after actually getting into Shura that there is nothing like Shura which can reform them and which can improve their planning and enactment of their planning. Because the time is over, so I take leave of you. Thank you very much for getting together. Right?
Thank you very much.
And you have to, because the Zuhur Asr will not be said together, so you have to say your sunnahs before. You must find time, right? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.